Just a quick thank you to everyone who's been using my EA creator code. It really means a lot. If you're picking up new Sims 4 packs, just enter SimmerySims as the promo code at checkout in the EA app or on the Sims website and click apply. It won't give you a discount, but it is a totally free way to support me and my channel. Thank you again, and happy simming! What's up everyone, my name is Marie, welcome to my channel, and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video, we're back in the world of Ravenwood, which is the world that came with the Life and Death expansion pack, and I've been wanting to do this build, this particular one, for a while now, so I'm so happy that I'm finally sitting down and sharing this build with you all, because this is going to be a jewelry and crystal shop. And ever since Businesses and Hobbies came out, this has been something I've been wanting to do, especially here in the world of Ravenwood. I think this would also look really fun and cute in the Realm of Magic world. Glimmerbrook, I think, would be perfect for it too. But I really like this downtown area of Ravenwood for a little jewelry shop slash crystal shop slash apartment. And then there's also going to be a small basement where there is the actual crystal gemology like workshop area. And then there's also a whiteboard there, like a couple of gemology tables, so you can actually give some gemology workshops and like classes down there as well. So that's very exciting. And then there's a small 1-bedroom apartment on the 2nd floor, which I think turned out so cute. So that's what we're doing today. And yeah, like I said, ever since Businesses and Hobbies came out, a jewelry shop inspired by obviously the Crystal Creation stuff pack in combination with the items from Life and Death has definitely been something I've been wanting to do for a while now. So I'm really happy to, to finally have the time to sit down and share this with you. I had so much fun with this build. I think it turned out so cute. Even though for the exterior, I was kind of struggling, like I wasn't sure what exactly I wanted it to look like. I was working off of a picture that I found on Pinterest of a really small cottage that had this really cute little round bump out front, which I thought would make the most perfect little window like area for a shop. So that's what I ended up doing. Unfortunately, we don't really have that many windows that work well with rounded walls. So I did choose these windows from, I think those are from Lovestruck, and they're so pretty. And I feel like they work really nicely here still. It just doesn't look as much as like a window for a shop where you can like look in and see what stuff they have, but it still looks really cute from the exterior. And it looks really cozy on the inside as well. So shape-wise, this build is very simple. It is basically just a rectangle with a rounded bump out, and then I added on a smaller bump out in the back as well for like a back door and a bathroom for the shop. So that's all the bump outs that this has, and I feel like that is so out of character for me. Usually my houses, like shape-wise, are a little bit more there's like just a little bit more to it in that sense, but I really wanted to try and keep this very simple because we do have that rounded bit. I thought it'd be nice for floor planning for one to just have like a simple shape, and it really did, like it did make it a lot easier, so that was really nice actually. And then I just really wanted to focus on the overall like aesthetic of this lot in general. So I created some, like had some fun with landscaping. I really tried to blend it in with the surrounding area. As you can see here on the side of the house, I basically like mimicked that flower patch with the fences and the hedges with some debug items that you can kind of see around here in the world. So that's kind of what I mimicked there. And then on the other side, I created like sort of like a garden type thing. That's where you'll also find the staircase going down into the basement, which has like, it has its own, there's no staircase from the inside going into the basement. There's only an exterior, I guess, staircase going down, and then there's a door into the basement there, of course. So it's a little walkout basement type of moment. And then I created some sort of garden around it, where I placed a crystal tree, and then I also ended up placing the charge, like the crystal charge kind of little round things that you place on the floor. I'm forgetting what the exact name of that item is, but you know how you can charge the crystals with Crystal Creations, the stuff pack, and you can charge them, and then there's certain benefits, I think, to certain crystals. I actually haven't done that much gameplay with the Crystal Creation stuff pack. I've definitely done Gemology, but not like the charging of crystals. I think you can actually charge the jewelry that you make, and then it has specific like benefits to your mood, your Sims moods or something like that, I think is what happens. I actually haven't done that much, but it is fun. Like I felt like I needed to include those charging pads, I think is what we can call them here. So I ended up placing those in the little garden that I end up creating on the side here. But yeah, I was having so much fun with this. I will say I was feeling slightly inspired by the fairies expansion pack that we're getting soon. This doesn't really look like a fairy cottage anymore, but I was inspired by a little house that I found on Pinterest, like I said, and that one was more of like a fairy cottage, like storybook cottage kind of house that I found. And so that's what I sort of based this off of and kind of what I was thinking of. And I also had some fun with vines out front, like the purple vines I thought were so cute. So yeah, I don't know. Speaking of the new expansion pack, by the way, I did create a little trailer reaction video. If you haven't seen it, I'll try to remember to link it down below. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm so excited about the new fairies, like the Enchanted by Nature expansion pack that we're getting. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Are you excited for this pack as well? Because I am. And it's kind of funny because I'm not an occult player at all. I barely, whenever I do gameplay, which I don't really do here on my channel anymore, I do want to bring it back, but I have to like figure out how to do that, planning and schedule wise, you know. But I do play the game over on my Twitch channel from time to time. We're currently playing Not So Berry, and I'm definitely not an occult player, but I'm really excited to like get my hands on the fairy expansion pack and try out this new occult and see what it's all about. But then also the living off the land, I think is going to be so fun. I am so inspired to try like a mini rags to riches type of thing. I don't know. I just really cannot wait for this pack to come out and see what it's all about. I think the world looks really cozy. It doesn't look very refreshing in the sense that it's something brand new that we've never seen before. I feel like it feels, from what we've seen so far, it sort of feels like a crossover between Willow Creek and Henford on Bagley, and maybe a little bit of the whimsicalness from Glimmerbrook, maybe a little bit, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. Maybe there's a little bit of Windenburg in there as well. So it doesn't really feel super refreshing and like out of this world, crazy new, never been done before, but it does look very cozy. It has like a little beach area, I think, where you can swim in the water as well. So that looks very cute. And I don't know, I'm just excited. I'm always excited for a new world because it gives you all new aesthetics for builds and gives me all these new ideas for builds and new inspiration. It's so fresh. So I literally can't wait. And we have to wait a little bit though. But yeah, when the new pack comes out, I would love to do some rags to fairies, you know, gameplay. I think that would be so fun. Living off the land. I think there is a new aspiration coming. Probably a couple, but I think it says something in the trailer about a new aspiration where you can like get better at like living off the land and like living outside, you know, basically. So that's kind of fun to try. I don't think we'll ever build houses again on this channel because who needs them anymore, you know, after this pack comes out. We can all just have our Sims live outside and sleep on the ground. So I guess we won't be needing houses anymore. But I am very excited to actually sit down and build fairy cottages when the new pack actually comes out, like actual ones. But until then, I will say I'm feeling pretty inspired. I've been in my cottage era for a few weeks now, and I think it's just going to continue on until the new pack comes out, and then I'll be building more cottages when that pack actually drops. So yeah, I'm still in my cottage era and it's not ending anytime soon either, and I'm kind of excited about it. Though this house, I will say, is sort of like a crossover, or this build I should say, is sort of like a crossover between a cottage and a townhouse, I want to say. We are building in the more downtown area here of Ravenwood, where by default I think there is a base or a starter house here, which is really cute. And I always feel so bad when bulldozing those builds that are done by super talented creators that come with the packs these days, which they're also doing that for Enchanted by Nature, thankfully. They have worked with creators once again, and those creators have done, from what we've seen from the screenshots in the blog post, like they've done an incredible job with these builds. So I literally can't wait to see them. But yeah, so here in the world of Ravenwood, where we're building is a more downtown area where I think this looks really cute. Like it works really well to have a community lot here. So naturally, that's what I decided to do. And here, as you can see, I tried to blend it in with the rest of the world. I used a terrain paint to basically paint in the entire lot, but then I put back some like grass patches in the side yard, I guess you could call it, and some flower patches and whatnot for some greenery, because I do want there to be like some sort of landscaping, like some type of plant area. So that's what I ended up doing. I also placed some debug planters here, which I think look really cute. I think these are from the high school years debug menu, and they work really nicely here. So I just thought that that was so cute. And I wanted there to be some like whimsical elements to this as well. So, you know, I tried to place some like fairy lights or string lights here on the side. And with all the wisteria, or I guess vines, going up the front of the building, it also kind of looks sort of whimsical already. And then on the inside, it sort of is a crossover between very chic and luxurious almost, and whimsical as well, because we have a bunch of crystals laid out on the displays and everything, but then also, of course, all the jewelry, and it looks like nice and expensive and, you know, pretty fancy in that way. And the apartment on the second floor actually sort of continues like to have that same aesthetic. It's very luxurious, and I used a lot of the items from Life and Death in here because they are just so good. And I don't know what it is specifically with the items from Life and Death. Whenever I start using a couple of items here, at first you can see that I placed down the flooring from Life and Death, also that really pretty wallpaper with the owls on it. I just thought that that was so like sort of whimsical in a way and just really pretty. So I used that in here. But whenever I start with those Life and Death like vibes, I just can't stop, and that's when I'll usually go and use all the items from that pack and have it be super matchy because the furniture is just really pretty. So that's what ended up happening, especially for the apartment upstairs on the second floor. But also down here, I used a bunch of items from that pack. Also Crystal Creations, obviously. I used a bunch of mostly decorations and clutter from Crystal Creations. Downstairs, I actually ended up using the desk as well, and the desk chair, and of course the Gemology tables as well, so I obviously had to place those. But yeah, the decorations from the jewelry pack, the Crystal Creations pack, were absolutely perfect for this because it has all that jewelry clutter and also all the actual jewelry items from Debug that I slotted to those display cases as well later on. So yeah, you can actually use this. I didn't even mention this, but you can actually use this as a small business with businesses and hobbies. So if you were to move your sim into this lot, you can just start a home business, and you can have them, like, you can set business activities such as browse and buy items, of course, but then also attend classes and lectures, because downstairs in the basement is where you can do gemology classes and lectures and whatnot. And then for the rest, it's mostly just browse and buy items, I think is what you're going to do here, because we have all these display cases with the crystals and with all the jewelry and stuff, which, I mean, it looks cute now. When you're going to actually use this as a business and Sims will go through and buy the items, what you can obviously do is go through Debug and just restock the shelves. But I do think it'd be really fun to actually play as a Sim where you go out and, well, of course we have that crystal tree, so you can harvest your own crystals, but you can also go out in the world and try to find crystals that you can then sell, and also obviously use to create gems and like jewelry with and everything, and then you can sell that here again in the store. So I kind of pre-stocked the store for you, but I think it'd be so fun to just through gameplay restock these shelves with gems that you harvest or find and the jewelry that you make. I just think it's going to be so fun. Definitely a lot of work though, because creating jewelry and gemstones is not super fast. Like it definitely takes a while. The more you build up the gemology skill, the faster your Sims will become when it comes to that, of course. But yeah, it's not super fast of a process. Like, it definitely takes a while. Thankfully, I pre-stocked these shelves for you. Like, they're all fully stocked, and it looks a little bit silly in those display cases. I didn't really want to alt place anything because when you slot it to these display cases, it automatically sets the stuff for sale. I don't think that happens when you alt place stuff on the shelves. So I made use of all the existing slots, and I just had to sort of like, you know, go around that and and be happy with how that looks, which it obviously doesn't look as nice as I would have wanted it to look. Like when I all place stuff on shelves, it just looks, you have a lot more control over it essentially, and you can make it look exactly how you want, and that was not really the case here. So I just had to sort of go through and place all the jewelry and have it look a little bit silly and a little messy, but you know, it's fine. I did the best that I could with the slots that were available, and this way it's actually functional in gameplay, which I think is by far the most important part. And when I started stocking those shelves, I was reminded of how tiny the jewelry is, which makes sense because it's jewelry and it's really small and dainty. But yeah, I was reminded of how tiny it is and like how much of it fits on those shelves, which I guess is a good thing, but then also it just looks sort of like, I don't know, a little messy, I guess. The necklaces are a little better. I feel like the necklaces are kind of nice and chunky, and it just like the displays for the necklaces are a little bit bigger of items, so it looks a little better that way. But then here in this little corner of the shelf by the round window is where we have the main area where you can buy all the jewelry, and then the other display cases more so by the checkout area. I filled those up with gemstones and crystals, and then we have one here by the front door as well, which I think partially filled up with gemstones, and then I also ended up placing a couple of jewelry items in here as well. But I think the gemstones are so fun. Like, I love the shapes of them, and they're so pretty, and they just look really, really nice on those, like in those display cases behind the glass. I don't know what it is, but I just think it looks really nice. And then here on this side, we also have a little checkout desk. I was so happy that I was reminded of these life and death kitchen counters. It's sort of sad because we're getting so much content these days. We're getting new packs pretty much back to back at this point. And it makes it so that I kind of just forget about the stuff that we got. I'm not like really familiar with all the items in packs before we were already like getting new packs, if that makes any sense. So I kind of forgot, I guess, in a way, about a lot of these items from Life and Death because I've been so focused on businesses and hobbies lately that Life and Death just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of, I guess in a way, forgot about it. And so it was really nice to refocus on the items that came with that pack, and I was reminded of how good they are and how pretty and how perfect they are for a shop like this. So I think it looks so good to have those counters in here with the like teal countertops to bring in a little bit of color, which I then sort of repeated throughout the little ottomans or poof chairs that I placed in here. Also, the love seat that I used is so pretty, so I had to use that in here. And then obviously the wallpapers, and it just really goes so nicely with the items from Crystal Creations as well. So that was a great combination of stuff. I'm also obsessed with that really large flower bouquet thing that I placed next to the checkout desk. I love it. It's from the wedding pack, and like in the black version, like the dark green and the black vase with the pink flowers, like the pink roses. It looks so chic and luxurious and just exactly like it's the perfect vibe for this place. And then here in this little hallway is where I placed a little bathroom for the customers to use. When you have played with businesses and hobbies, you know that it's essential to have a bathroom in your store because customers will pee their pants in your shop, and you don't want that. You simply don't want that to happen. It's a whole thing. So it's nice to have a little bathroom here for the people to use. And then also here in this hallway where I ended up placing a staircase going up to the apartment is where I created a little kitchenette for employees. So if you are going to place this in your build and you're going to use it as a small business and you're going through to assign spaces, obviously the store and the bathroom and everything is going to be public. And then this little area here would be employees only. And then everything on the second floor would be the residential area. That's how I would go about it anyway, because obviously if you make this little hallway residential, then your employees can't use it. And I did place a little microwave in here and a mini fridge so they can actually grab some food. You can also obviously have them use your apartment for that, but I don't know, it's just not that realistic to do it that way. So I decided to just create a little, make use of the little hallway space in here. Otherwise it just would have been like dead space anyway. So it's kind of nice to have a function for it. And then next up, we are going to decorate the basement, which I turned into the Gemology workshop space, but not before I placed this little plant here on top of the display case. I came across this plant from the Sleek Bathroom kit, and I was reminded of it, and I thought it would look so pretty on top of a display case. So obviously I had to go through and do that. I love that plant. It's so good. And then here downstairs is just where we have the entrance into the basement. So we have a staircase going down, and then in here is where we essentially just have the workshop area. So I started by placing a little whiteboard, and then I ended up placing 4 Gemology tables in total, which I think is enough. I think you need a minimum of 3 to be able to actually hold a lecture or start a class. So we have a minimum of 3 because we have 4, so that's nice. And then obviously this would also be the workshop for the shop owner to actually do their gemology and create their crystals and jewelry that they will then sell in the store. So yeah, there is that. I also placed a couple of bookcases. I really wanted this to look like, you know, a nice workshop area where you can do the actual gemology, but you can also read up on it, like read some skill books, if you will. I wanted there to be some storage for like the hardware, like the things that you use for actually creating the crystals and whatnot. So I made this little storage area here with all the items and just some display cases in general. I also placed a desk because I thought that would be the perfect spot for the shop owner to actually sit and do their like admin stuff and whatnot. I didn't actually end up having the space for a little office area in the apartment. So I thought this desk down here would be perfect for that. I didn't place a computer, so if you are going to use this in your game, I think a computer would be the perfect item to place here still. And then I went through to clutter up these shelves. Obviously, I had to go and add more crystals and gemstones. Like I said, I just love the gemstones. The gnome is my favorite. Maybe they were already foreshadowing that, the new pack with that gnome crystal. But also, gnomes have always been in The Sims already, so maybe not. Maybe it's just a fun little gnome. But then here I also created or replaced those filing cabinets from Life and Death. And they just go so nicely with the furniture style from the Crystal Creations pack. So that was really nice to just mix and match and combine those items a little bit. For the rest, I tried to keep this basement fairly simple because I wanted there to be enough space for Sims to route around as well because, you know, this is going to be used for workshops and lectures and whatnot. So I take it a few Sims will be down here at a time trying to attend your lecture or your class. So yeah, it'd be nice to have some space for them to sit around, stand around, and actually use the gemology tables as well. So I've tried to keep it fairly spacious down there. And then we're moving on to the second floor, which is where we'll have the apartment. I really like how the apartment came out. It's very chic. And the shop downstairs, I feel like color scheme wise is more on the moody side of things. And the apartment is definitely the same vibe, but make it lighter. So I use some lighter colors in here. I'm using this like orangey wood tone for the counters. I'm also using a slightly lighter version or swatch of the floor down here. And I just really wanted to brighten this space up a little bit because it is fairly small. It's only a 1-bedroom apartment, so there's not a whole lot of space in here, but I still wanted it to look very chic. So yeah, I decided to make it a little bit lighter color scheme wise to kind of brighten it up. So I'm using a lot of white, or I'll end up using a lot of white details in here, but then the wallpaper is going to be this really pretty like dark green, which is actually a wallpaper from Businesses and Hobbies, and I didn't think it would go this nicely with stuff from Life and Death, but it actually ended up being the perfect combination again. I mean, I guess the wallpaper is pretty basic, so it does make sense, but it was kind of nice and refreshing to use white details in here. At first I used these black curtains, but I will be switching those out or changing the swatch to a white, because this is where I decided to go for this really dark green, like forest green wallpaper. So I decided to go with white details and like a lighter fireplace. I'm not sure what that fireplace is from that I used. I think that one's from Growing Together actually, and it just looks really, really pretty. I think it's so cute, and I had a lot of fun. Like, I was happy that I had an excuse to use it in here because the details and the colors on that specific fireplace, they're just different. Like, I think they're so pretty. And then here, I wanted this house to not be too cluttered, but it is a fairly small apartment. So I thought it'd be nice to have some clutter here in the kitchen. And obviously I had to go and use the kitchen clutter kit for that because I love it so much. It comes with the most perfect clutter for kitchens naturally. So that was really great. Also, at first here, I used it just like a regular counter sink, but I forgot about the fact that this entire kitchen cabinet set and like appliances set comes with a matching sink from Life and Death as well. So I obviously went through and replaced that later on. I was reminded of it when I did the bathroom. So it's not for a while, but I did end up swapping that out. So the front door from the like hallway actually leads you straight into the kitchen, which is not the most, I guess, common thing when it comes to layouts for houses or apartments for that matter, but it's just how it worked out best for this house in any case. So yeah, I decided to just have the kitchen right there, and then the living room here. It's a little bit more like squeezed of a space. It's a little bit smaller, but I think it looks very, very cozy. So as you can see, I'm using all matching furniture from Life and Death. So the armchair ties right into the colors of the kitchen and like the bar stools, and then this really beautiful leather couch that like it hasn't crossed my mind in so long, like in months. I basically forgot about that couch. So I'm glad I'm using that sofa in here because it looks really good. And then over top of the fireplace, I actually placed not a TV, but an actual painting. And then I decided to place a smaller TV here on a little side table next to it. I just really didn't want to place a TV over that fireplace mantle. I really thought that a cool art piece would just be a lot prettier in this space. So that's what I ended up doing. I used that really strange, or not strange, but you know, that very typical base game art piece with the violins on it. I just thought it was really cool. And then I really love the combination again of Life and Death and Crystal Creations items in here. That rug that I'm using is just so gorgeous and it goes so nicely with the color scheme in here. Also that white lamp, I'm using a black version of that downstairs in the store, but I really like that white standing light from Businesses and Hobbies. Like, weirdly enough, it's just such a great fit. So it was a really fun combination of packs that I used in here and kind of unexpected in a way as well. And this is where I was kind of struggling with the space a little bit because I still really wanted to have a full-on dining table in here, but I wasn't really sure how to go about it. So I actually decided to move the door into the bathroom into the bedroom, so it's an ensuite. And it's just a 1-bathroom apartment anyway, and like a 1-bedroom apartment anyway, so I feel like it's not too big of a deal. Usually when I have just 1 bathroom in my builds, I want it to be a hall bath and not like an ensuite, but it just worked out better this way because this way I actually had space for a small 3-seater round dining table, so that's what I ended up doing in here. And then against those bookcases, I just think it looks really pretty. And then for the bedroom, I'm using another swatch of that Businesses and Hobbies wallpaper, and it goes perfectly with this bed from Life and Death because the color just ties right into the flowers and the pillows on the bed. So that was such a great find. So yeah, I used that in here, and the bedroom itself is just, it's fairly small. It is pretty luxurious. I ended up giving them a really big TV in here because I was reminded of that really pretty frame TV, like a very chic one. I think it came with the Secret Sanctuary kit, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I just kind of forgot about that TV. I forgot that it existed, you know, essentially. So it was really fun to come across it, and that was the perfect like eye catcher like moment here in the bedroom. So yeah, that was a really great thing to come across and place here on the wall. It is so chic with the gold frame and then the black roses print that's like visible. I don't know, I just think it's really good. And then here off of the bedroom, of course, is where we end up having the ensuite bathroom. And I use, again, a lot of Life and Death items in here. Life and Death shower, and then the wallpaper and flooring is actually from high school years, which was a really good combination here for the items and then also just the style overall. And this is where I was reminded of that sink as well. So you could see me swap the kitchen sink out for the one that came with this pack, and it's just absolutely perfect. And then I'm using a toilet. I use that toilet downstairs as well from Realm of Magic. I haven't used that toilet in literal years, I don't think. So it was really fun to revisit that and use it in here. And it's just a really cool vibe. I don't really use this furniture or decoration style all the time, but it was really fun to use it again. So yeah, that's what I ended up doing. I just ended up placing some lights in here and then just a final few decorations. And then that's it for the speed build. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you the build in real time. So here we have the jewelry shop in the game. I think it blends in with the world really nicely. I haven't used Ravenwood in a while, but I just think this world and especially this area is so pretty. It's across from this square here with a goat statue. And then there is a park over here, or like a playground area where I think festivals take place in this area as well. So that's really fun. And then here we have the exterior of the build. So out front here is just where I have some signs and some flowers and like plant pots and whatnot. This side of the build just blends in with the area nicely. I placed some benches. And then on the side here is where we have, I guess, like a side garden almost. I placed a crystal tree over here, which is really great. I actually got this off of the gallery because when you place the debug one, it doesn't really place as a full-size tree, so you'd still have to go through gameplay and grow it, which I think is fun. But especially for gameplay when you're using this, I think it's nice to have a full-grown crystal tree, and maybe you want to plant some more yourself. And then I placed these like charging grid thingies. So I placed a couple here, and then there's another one right here for you to use. And then there's just a cute little 4-seater table over here. So let's go inside. So through the front door here is where we have the shop itself. I really liked having an excuse to use this purple door from Businesses and Hobbies. It's the only door that comes in this swatch, weirdly enough. Like, it's a really random one-off purple swatch, but I think it's so pretty, so I used it in here. And then over here, as you can see, we just have a lot of like crystals and things on display. So there's some items here by the checkout desk as well. We have some crystals here displayed, or some gemstones, I should say. And then over here as well, a little combination of things. And then over here is where we have most of the jewelry over here in these two display cases. I love this crystal. I love the colors of it. It's so pretty. So I placed a bunch of necklaces here and just some other jewelry. Some more crystals out here on these displays, and then some clutter over here by the windows. I also made sure to place a check-in desk so people can just check in. I think it's fair to still charge for this lot for people to visit, even though it's a shop, because downstairs you obviously can do the crystal workshops or gemology workshops. So I think it's fair to charge for that, which you still do actually, I think, when you hold a lecture or start a class. I think participants or attendees actually still pay for that regardless, but you know, you can just charge Sims for whatever you want to charge them for. I feel like that's fine. But in here we have 4 gemology tables and just a bunch of bookcases, a whiteboard clearly, and then just some storage and decoration. Oh, and then here in the shop in the back, we actually also have that bathroom. So that's here in the back, and then there's a back door over here. Then in this hallway is where we have a employee only little break room. It's really simple. There's not a lot to it, just a fridge and a microwave and then a sink, and I guess a little place to sit and eat. So yeah, there's that. And then going upstairs, we have this nice open landing here with a door leading you into the apartment. So you basically walk straight into the kitchen here, and I used a lot of this like warmer, almost orangey, like brown tone. I think it looks really pretty in here though, especially with the white appliances. So we have a white fridge and a white stove. I used this little backsplash thingy just behind the stove, which I feel like maybe looks a little silly, but I also think it looks pretty at the same time. So I did it regardless. There's some bar seating over here, and then a 3-seater dining table over here by the bookcases, which just looks so chic. And then over here is the living room space, which is my favorite part of this apartment, I think. I just really like that fireplace, and then the color of the couch with those throw pillows. This collage is just too perfect not to use in here, so I had to do that. And that chair is also just gorgeous. Then right here is the bedroom. I'm really loving the plum colors in here combined with the black and like the gold accents. It's just so chic. Obviously have to use some more jewelry in here, so I did that. And then they also have a really nice TV in here, so that's pretty nice to have. And then off of the bedroom is the bathroom, which is just simple. No shower tub combo this time, just a shower. Obviously a sink and a toilet. But then that is basically it for this build. So this jewelry store and apartment is up on the gallery for you to download. It comes in at just over 103,000 simoleons, and I uploaded it as a residential, and then you can actually start a business from your home lot and then, you know, assign the rooms properly. And I built it on a 30 by 20 in the world of Ravenwood in the downtown area, where by default there is a starter home. So if you want to place it in your game, then that's where it goes. But that's gonna do it for today's video, so I really hope that you enjoyed this one. You can obviously go ahead and download this build off the gallery, like I just showed you. My username on the gallery is SimmerySims. You can follow me on Instagram if you'd like. My username on there is SimmerySims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so, and if you'd like to get notified every single time I upload, just click that little bell icon. I also live stream over on Twitch a few times a week, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and give me a follow over on twitch.tv/SimmerySims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!